Welcome to the Melissa Banks Show. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, and I'm excited you decided to join us today. This show is all about celebrating authors, entrepreneurs, creatives, people who are boldly chasing their dreams, creating meaningful products and services, and inspiring others to do the same. Each episode will uncover stories behind the successes, the lessons learned from the challenges, and the advice that can spark action in your own life. My goal is simple. It's to remind you that your dreams are possible and to leave you feeling inspired and empowered. So let's get started with today's show. Our guest today is artist Carlos Walker, who has an incredible story to share with us. Welcome to the show, Carlos.
Thank you, Miss Banks. How you doing?
I am amazing and excited for this conversation. Thank you again for being here.
Thank
So
you.
let's get started. I have to say this, when I was just preparing for this, Cyrus Webb actually said, this is a guy you should talk to. So I started looking and just getting familiar with you, and I was feeling inspired and excited for the conversation just in preparation to be here. So I'm excited to share your story with you. So let's begin at the beginning. So just 8 years old, you fell in love with drawing. At 8 years old, that's just amazing. Describe to us what drew you to art as a child and how you nurtured that talent in your life before things turned.
So, at the age of 8, I had a cousin, or I have a cousin, and he used to draw. He used to draw little Marvel comics off of the little cards that they used to have. And I used to watch him, and I started copying him. But I started taking the cards and just copying him, drawing them, and found out that I could draw. So
Wow.
that led to me continuing to draw. I drew a picture for a church one time. I'm gonna be honest, I cannot remember the picture, but there was this older lady. She used to always, every time she see me, even till today, she still let me know that I drew that picture. And my mother, she no longer here. She used to always tell me that I was gonna be an architect. Me, I used to tell her that I'm an artist. I don't. I two different types of artists. I draw people and things of that nature. I don't do structures of buildings and things. And hey, that's part the beginning part of my journey.
Wow. That goes to show you, though, your gift, that gift that God has placed in you, will come out of you, whether you're trying for it to come out or not. The right people are going to see it. So that is amazing. Talk to us about, there are different places in my journey, Carlos, that I define as a defining moment. It was in that moment something happened, something changed in my spirit, something that changed who I am and my perspective on life. So when I was preparing, you shared this story about witnessing a black prison guard, disciplining a white inmate, and that sparked Walk a Mile in Our Shoes. So could you walk us through the moment, where you saw this and how it shaped who you are now and your artistic vision?
So there's many different parts to that story. So I actually prayed and asked God to give me something that'll help me make money where I never sell drugs again. So I ended up selling drugs for a portion of my life, from 14 to 24 until I went to prison. And I didn't believe that the art could actually make money because I'd really never seen nobody sell art. I'm 43. I'm from the country, a little part in Virginia called Halifax County. So, and it wasn't no social media back then where you could see a bunch of artists making money. So I started selling drugs, found myself in prison, and during that time, my parents came to see me, and I said that prayer, and I asked, and I told God, I said, if you give me something that'll help me make money, I tell the world about you. The next, within 2 months, I'm walking on the compound one day, and I looked, and there was a black correctional officer, hands behind his back, and there was a white guy actually cutting grass, not really disciplining him, but he was cutting grass, and I'd been studying Black history for 3 years, 3.5. And what ended up happening, I told my friend, I said, this look like this is a black slave master and a white slave. And he said, I can see that. I forgot about the idea. About a month and a half later, I'm going through a Black History book, and I ended up seeing two white guys chasing a black guy, and the idea pops back in my head. Over the next 3.5 years, I did all the art that's in my book. I did picture after picture, and I was actually angry at the time because I just learned all this stuff about Black history, and it bothered my spirit. And I was looking at what y'all was seeing in out here was black police officers. White police officers killing black people, and all this stuff was running through my mind. And I would just reverse pictures, the pictures of what y'all was seeing. I couldn't do nothing. I felt helpless. Like, what can I bring? What could I actually do to help? So I started creating this artwork. God gave me something. God basically used the gift that I had to create something that people are looking at now.
You know what you just said? God used the gift that you already had. He gave it to you. He uses that. And I just don't want that to go lightly. I don't want you to run through that, because that is a powerful moment. Also, another powerful moment is you weren't in the best place in your life at the moment that you could see. You know, you
It
wasn't
wasn't.
celebrating being there,
It wasn't, but it was.
but it was exactly.
Because
Exactly.
what ended up happening, sitting there, I was in college. I met some of the greatest people that I've ever met in my life. I ended up doing a bunch of artwork and wrote a book. Me, and this don't happen to everybody, I was not in one fight the whole time I was in prison. And that doesn't happen to everybody. I realized, kind of like the caterpillar. When the caterpillar is inside the cocoon, nothing bothers it. It's the most vulnerable spot that it actually is in, or that it will ever be in, and nothing touches it. And that's how God treated me.
Right, in that place. And that's why it was so important for me to highlight that, because oftentimes, Carlos, you know this, we have this beautiful painted picture that everything is going to be wonderful, and if this feels wonderful and look wonderful, that's what God intends for me to do. But that's not always the story, is it? Because that was not your story. And thank you, God, that you moved on those things, and here you are in a very different place than you ever was be. I can look at your art as a healing for you, not only emotionally but spiritually as well. Talk to us a little bit about that side when you were in that place. Wasn't a great place, but he was protecting you, because you don't have to be in a great place for him to protect us, right? How did art, what role did the art itself play emotionally and spiritually as you processed the trauma that you were in and you found purpose?
So there's one of my favorite verses is, "Your gift will make room for you and put you before great men." And me, before prison, when I got locked up, my sister told me, she said, "You didn't know how to trust God." What my art became was, yes, therapeutic, because it was something that took my mind from just where I was at.
Mhm.
But two, it's also what sustains me even today. It it takes in, I sell art. I sell my books more than I sell the art, but the art is my book.
Mhm.
And it's almost mind blowing how God gives you something that, especially when you ask for it. It says you have not because you ask not, but when you ask for it and you get to see what God will do, it's up to you then to go and share that story.
Mhm.
And the art just, hey, it became freedom for me.
But you know, you bring up another really great point right there, Carlos, because somewhere from some place it came to you to say, Lord, if you give me something to do, I will tell everybody about you. And that opened up your heart that you could receive the gift he already prepared for you. What an amazing, amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. And let me reset for a moment. And just, if you're joining us late, this is the Melissa Banks Show. Our guest today is artist, author, Carlos Walker. So, Carlos, your work is amazing. It's making such a difference. How do you want your work to impact the lives of others?
So two ways. One for Black people, or for people in general. A lot of us don't know history. So what I get to do, I get to share history, even though it's in reverse. But for white people, I get to share, hopefully, empathy. They will look at it, imagine themselves or their family or their descendants in that ancestors in that predicament, and rethink the way they think. Not all are racist, but everybody's not empathetic. You got some people who may be sympathetic, but I don't want sympathy. I prefer empathy, because empathy is what will make you step in the gap and help create change.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. You know, Carlos, oftentimes we have this push or this nudging in our stomach. You know, you're supposed to do something. You're supposed to talk to people. You're supposed to write a book, or maybe you're supposed to just start a business, or maybe you're supposed to get on a stage and motivate people. But it's right here, right here.
Hmm.
Talk about it to everybody who will listen. You can't sleep at night because you're constantly thinking about it. But you know, starting can be the hardest part. And oftentimes you go through all that, but you just haven't been able to take that first step. It's not looking like you thought it would look. You don't have all the pieces in place because you think you got to make it perfect before you can start. What advice would you say to someone who is just hesitant? They're in that place, they know, but they haven't been able to move. What advice would you have for them?
So there's this shoe brand. Most of us wear 'em, and it says just do it. You're not supposed to know everything that is going to happen. You're not supposed to have all the pieces. What you're supposed to do is walk with faith. Because faith, as we know, the Bible says faith is the substance. It says, no, let me back up. It says, and now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's the faith now that will get you to that you hope and more. But that's what's going to be the evidence. The faith is the evidence of where you're going. And you have to have enough faith, not in even you, but that God gave you something great enough to make what you are seeing in your head true. Everybody not going to even believe it. Noah, the people didn't believe Noah when he was creating that ship. People don't believe in. There's countless people that we can name. They did not. But matter of fact, my brother was just telling me about a comedian, and his wife left him. She had stuck through it through the whole process, but at the end, she did not believe, and she ended up leaving him, and his whole life changed. Now he ended up going back and being with her, and getting her. Say he got in the room and it didn't feel right, so he went back and got his wife. But you have to believe in you. You have to believe in what God has given you, and just go. If I can tell anybody, look, I was sitting in prison, and God told me three things. I was going to leave prison early, the world was going to see my artwork, and that I was a millionaire. And I'm sitting in a prison cell. So, in my mind, with 8 years left, how is this going to happen? How am I coming home early? How is the world planning on seeing my artwork? And how in the world am I going to be a millionaire and I don't have the pieces? I didn't have to. I knew how to do one thing. I prayed quite a few times and watched God do something. In that moment, I believed, and I read a few books. I read the entire Bible. I read As a Man Think and Grow Rich, and quite a few other books. And it told me one thing: if you can believe it, you can achieve it. You don't have to know everything, and don't worry about when it's going to happen. But if you're willing to go and walk and trust, what God will do is make things happen. And hey, I've been home for the last. I came home 4 years, 4.5 years early. Been home now 6 years. My artwork has now been at the World Trade Center 3 years in a row. I've exhibited in DC twice, Baltimore twice, Florida, Georgia, Philly. Ohio. I have sold over 12,000 copies of my first book, and over 11,700 been hand to hand, and me signing every one of them. And that was God. I didn't know how any of this was going to take. $1 million, it'll happen when it happened. When God said, "Hey, you're prepared and ready for it now, and that you will be able to sustain it, I can give it to you now." I'm not worried about when that happened. I didn't see 2 or 3 happen. I can guarantee you the third one will happen in time. I just got to trust the process. So trust God at whatever you are seeing or whatever's in your gut, and walk and watch what happens.
Oh, wow. That was amazing. And I don't know who will hear that and not be stirred, because it's so true. Your surroundings weren't perfect. You didn't see it, but you didn't have to see it, but you did have to be obedient and believing it. I believe our dreams happen from the moment we believe it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what you just said. Thank you so much for that. This has just been so amazing. I was saying, now talk to us, Carlos, about you. You know, as an entrepreneur, I've been an entrepreneur for over 26 years. And I promise you, my road has not been straight along the way. There have been lots of stuff happening, but I am passionate about sharing with women, inspiring women, and encouraging others to go for their dreams. And sometimes I get all caught up in that passion. I get excited about it. I just get caught up in it, and I forget about me. I forget that I need motivation. I need to stay focused. So when you get all caught up in all the stuff that you're doing, what do you do for Carlos? Those moments that you need to be motivated yourself, those moments that you need to get yourself focused on what you're here to do. What do you do for you?
Normally, when I'm talking to them, I'm talking to me.
Mm,
So I learned one thing. I learned that you hear yourself more than anybody hear you.
mm,
So what I do, I feed off that, but I also feed off their energy. So when I'm talking to people, when I'm sharing my story, when um just in the room, just talking to people, it's normally for me. I'm the main character of this story. I'm just the supporting cast member in everybody else's story. But if the main character ain't inspired, how can you inspire somebody else?
mm,
You have to be able to know that. And I heard this before. Um, they say a butterfly has 12,000 eyes. Guess what? It can't see itself.
mm,
You have to reflect that and know where you have come from. You have to be able to look at this story and be like, man, the journey ain't been straight, but it's been well worth it.
mhm,
You have to look at your life and and for me, it's me always looking at God and saying, man, thank you.
mhm,
I am grateful for every step of this journey. If I could go back right now and God was to give me an opportunity and say, look, you can take a different path if you want to, you'll still end up at the same spot. Or you can go back down this road. I would take the same road, because guess what? I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have met the people that I've met that helped change me.
mhm,
I wouldn't have an understanding of the things that I understand now, because most of the things that I understand, some people never get to understand it because they didn't travel their journey. I am grateful for the journey. The prison, 13 years, and I look, I appreciate it now, but it made me appreciate my freedom that much more.
oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Carlos, for inspiration, for sharing your story, the celebrations and the not so good stuff. And that's what helps us to balance and encourages us to move forward. So what's next for Carlos Walker, and how can our audience let them know how they can support you and stay connected to you?
So there's quite a few different ways you can well, it's quite a few different things that I got planned. I created a rap debate. I took rap music and debate and merged it. I'm working on that with some other people to see if I can get this off the ground, or in time, whenever God's ready for it to be off the ground, it will be. Uh, I am. I have to finish giving away uh, the 3,500 books that some people donated money to me to be able to give away to young people. Um, I would love at the end of this year to raise anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000 to give away 20 to 30,000 books.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Uh, I would even look if I can just give away 10,000 books. Look, that would be next year. That would look that would be great for me. At the moment, I will be at the moment. I'm able to give away 3,500, but to be able to do even more and do that yearly, to me, is to inspire young people, but to inspire anybody, because you ain't got to just be young. You can be older, and still your life. If you're still here, you're meant to inspire somebody.
That's right.
Our stories are here for a reason. And then how you can reach out to me, Walkers underscore gallery 2 on Instagram. Walkers underscore gallery 2, WALKERS underscore GALLERY, the number 2. And I do have a Facebook page. I go in there from time to time, but then I use TikTok too. I use TikTok a lot. I think it's Twan. I think it's Twan 666. I don't know how the 666 got on there. Please forgive me. But hey, it's on there. But just reach out to me. Oh, phone number 571-300-3131. You can call me. I am into inspiring however I possibly can.
Wow. Thank you again, Carlos, for being here today. Thank you for your willingness to share and for inspiring others. We look to see all that you do. So thank you again for that.
And
And
thank
thank you
you.
to our audience for joining us today for the Melissa Banks Show. I hope today's conversation with Carlos Walker reminded you that your dreams are within reach, no matter where you're starting. So remember, this journey is unique. Your dreams are valid, and you have the power to design a life you love. So keep believing, keep growing, and keep shining. I'm your host, Melissa Banks. Until next time.
Blessings.